Hey everybody, I'll let everyone get over here. A tweet just went out. Of course, the Washington Post, a reporter at the Washington Post who has made fun of me in the past and who claims to be in a progressive rock and who seems like a total fucking freak in my opinion. He seems like one of the people that hangs out at Comet Pizza and watches the young teenage boys bands watches as the young teenage boys play in their bands. That's who this reporter at the Washington Post feels like. And this is a man who's mocked me before in the past. And now he's saying in the Washington Post that Seth Rich is fake news. Fuck you, creep. How is Seth Rich fake news? How is it fake news? Seth Rich was murdered. He was the suspected leaker of the DNC emails. According to Kim.com, he was absolutely the leaker with certainty. And WikiLeaks is aware of Kim.com's claims, and they have not disputed that. So Kim.com must not be lying because WikiLeaks has not disputed his claims that Seth Rich was the DNC leaker who sent those emails to WikiLeaks. Now, why is the Washington Post saying that Seth Rich is fake news? What exactly about Seth Rich is fake news? What we know for a fact is this man who was a 27-year-old DNC staffer sent some emails to WikiLeaks, and then he's shot to death. He's shot multiple times in the back, he's admitted to the hospital, and the next morning he is dead. That is called murder, when you shoot somebody in the back multiple times, and when in John Podesta's emails, he says that he is for making an example of the leaker. Well, that made an example of the leaker, didn't it? So did John Podesta authorize an assassination in his emails? That's what many people believe. But the Washington Post says it's all fake news. We can just go home. Seth Rich is fake news. I don't think so. When a young man is murdered in cold blood to protect the Podesta family and to protect the Clinton family, I don't think that's fake news. I think that's very real news. And we need to investigate the reporter at the Washington Post who is shamelessly covering for the Podestas and is also pissing on the grave of Seth Rich. That reporter, Dave Weigel, the whole internet needs to look into that fucking loser. That guy was attacking Breitbart years ago before his death. He mocked me. Dave Weigel at the Washington Post is a fucking creep. That guy is a creep. So he thinks Seth Rich is fake news. I don't think it's fake news. I think Seth Rich was murdered in retaliation for leaking those emails to WikiLeaks. And tomorrow we will know with certainty, right? Because on Tuesday, tomorrow, Kim.com is releasing more information. No, John Podesta is a pedophile in mom jeans, and they think that some blog posts in the Washington Post are going to make all of us forget about his emails. No, it actually just pisses us off. It pisses us off 100 times more that this man who's been harassing and character attacking and threatening and murdering, that this fucking creep, this fucking pedophile in mom jeans, who has been murdering and threatening and harassing and molesting for years, some freaks at the Washington Post think that a couple of blog posts calling all of this fake news will make the public forget about it. I think the Washington Post is solidly a part of the swamp. I mean, this is now criminal cover-up of real criminal activity. Again, how is Seth Rich fake news? That man was murdered. He was shot in the back for what he sent to WikiLeaks. He was murdered. John Podesta needs to be brought to justice. And it doesn't matter how many blog posts the Washington Post comes out with. We will never stop talking about Seth Rich's murder, and we will never stop talking about Podesta. And also wanted to bring up Bitcoin and Ether. Of course, when I was living in Los Angeles years ago, people laughed at me and said I was wrong about Bitcoin when it was trading at less than 1/10 its current value. I wasn't wrong, and I wasn't deceiving people. I'm a journalist and a researcher, and I shared my findings on the Joe Rogan podcast and other people's shows years ago. I shared my findings. I was honest. I was right. The current price of Bitcoin is $2,241. So from less than $200 when I was being laughed at and called a liar in Los Angeles to $2,241. And according to some people, This might only be the beginning for Bitcoin. It's about to cross, it looks like, $2 billion in global trading volume over the last 24 hours. It's at 1.91 billion of trading volume right now, but it might cross $2 billion later today, it looks like, of trading volume just for Bitcoin. So I was right about Bitcoin. And what about Ether? You know, when people were laughing at Ether when it was trading at less than $8 per Ether, I had the founders of Ethereum on my YouTube channel. I interviewed Vitalik Buterin, and then I interviewed Taylor Gehring a couple of times. And it's not all about the price, it's not all about the buzz, but I was right about Ether. Ether right now, again, from less than $8 in Ether when I first started talking about it, right now it's trading at $184 almost, $183.93 per Ether. I was right about Ether. I was right about Bitcoin. I was right about John Podesta. I was right about Pedogate. I was right about there being a Luciferian pedophile ring. So keep being noisy, keep being loud, keep supporting me and Fulcrum if you wish to do that, because we speak the truth over here. We're not in the business of calling Seth Rich fake news, because it's not fake news. And if John Podesta needs to go down for his crimes, then so he does. We're not going to cover up for a man who is a criminal in mom jeans. We're not going to do that here as they do over at the Washington Post. And it should upset the public that the Washington Post is intentionally lying to us about Seth Rich. And of course, they gave John Podesta a column. So Fulcrum is begging for your support so that we can be properly funded. And we're struggling to get that support over on Patreon. And yet, when we're struggling to build a new media outfit that works for the people, John Podesta is awarded a column at the Washington Post. Unreal to reward a man with greater visibility after what is in his emails. But the Washington Post will pay, and Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos will pay, and the deep state will pay, and of course John Podesta will pay, because a young man was shot to death. A young man, Seth Rich, was shot to death and murdered in cold blood for sending some emails to WikiLeaks, and that is not appropriate. But again, I was right about Bitcoin, and I was right about Ether, and I was right about Pedogate, and I was right about the deep state, and about John Podesta specifically, and about the fact that he's a pedophile. I was right about all of that stuff. Being right definitely is its own reward for a number of reasons, but I didn't appreciate the criticism years ago, and those people who were so convinced I was wrong should have actually done their own homework and their own research rather than character attacking me. But it's all water under the bridge. I won, and this is just the beginning. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all. God bless Bitcoin. God bless Ethereum. And thank you guys. Thank you to those of you who knew that I was telling the truth when many others in the media were acting like piles of crap. And that's the reality. See you guys.